Hello guys, how are you? The episode today is about how I went from this, with all the work so far, up to this. This is still a work in progress, okay? It's not finished still, but let's do this. Again, hello guys, how are you? This is another episode of the Build with Graf Spee. It's been 2 or 3 months since I hadn't uploaded a video, so I'm sorry for that, but well, as you can see, still working on this and having a lot of fun. I'm building the Graf Spee from Academy, Admiral Graf Spee. I'm using, well, all bells and whistles, and it's been a hell of a process until this stage. A lot of fun. You can see it here all on my channel. I'm trying to make everything clearer, and as you can see, these stairs, well, these steps, the first ones were not as good as I intended. And please do have in mind, and I'll put a link to the video, that I did build several 1700 ships, mainly the Bismarck, and I used photo etch set. So that one is not easy, but this, even so, I'm out of practice. Let's admit this from the start. And even so, it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. The first 1 or 2 sets of stairs wasn't fast, but then again, I tried to make my work better, and as you can see, well, nothing against my work until this point, this stage so far. A lot of modifications on these plastic pieces in order for you to fit the photo etch set. Should you decide building this like I am building it, you do have to do it. However, sometimes, yeah, it's a little bit hard. Hands shake, my eyes are not the same anymore, but the final result is very, very good, and it changes completely the appearance of this model. It brings that kind of detailed, textured, not so rough aspect of a build when you use the photo etch set. We all know that, right? But it is true. Like you are watching here, it's very small pieces. Sometimes it was a nightmare to try to put this completely different. And yep, you can see it now. I will start working on photo etch set on this hard surface. Probably it shouldn't be that hard, that rough surface, but hey, I'm happy with it. And now this arado. This arado, for those of you who don't see a video from me building planes for a long time, I guess you can scratch that one on your list, right? At least I hope that, because it's very small, but it was good to do this again. You know what I mean? The only thing I'm sorry is that it didn't bring, I don't know, kind of a canopy, you know, to replace. But I tried to paint it the best I could. These floaters needed a lot of detail from the photo edge. It was not easy, I'm not used to that. But even so, I say a lot of even so's, right? Even so, I enjoyed very, very much doing this. spending. We just have to glue this structure and photo etch detail. It was a small challenge to do this, but even so, I enjoyed it. It was fun. Believe it or not, it was fun. And yeah, the model, of course, it just gets so much realism, you know? It's totally worth it. If I could choose not to buy the photo etch set for this kit, I would probably, knowing what I know now and knowing what I do know about photo etch, I would probably go, even if I didn't like it, I would probably buy it again and again and again. Almost on the painting stage. The propeller and the nose of the propeller, as you can see, sometimes, well, things happened and some oopsies happened, some mistakes, the pieces drop, you have to find it, be searching for it for 30 minutes, 1 hour. Yeah, it's usual stuff when we work with small pieces, right? And now we're almost to the part of painting this model. I am using the Arado because obviously Admiral Graf Spee used Arados on the River Plate battle. They didn't have any, well, great use, but even so, I used the Arado because it was real for that period of time. I use mission model paints, as you know, so they have the RLM 65. Every paints are totally here, and pretty much I don't have to try to find which paint is what tone. They're just marked RLM, which is very good. It's super easy, and because this is very small, I have to use paintbrush. Now, I had to do this a lot on this model. I will explain more ahead why, but I really enjoyed it. It was really relaxing to do, kind of a old school build, you know. I don't consider myself a very good brush painter, whatever. I just paint stuff in order for it not to look like plastic. But I enjoyed very much doing this, and time flies when you do what you like. And it, like here, it was one of those times. Simply was delightful to do this. I really enjoyed doing this. You noticed, and because I'm putting the iron disc cross here, you noticed that disclaimer on the beginning of the video. Well, I had a video from my 1/32 IHE 111 that I built more than 10 years ago, removed from YouTube with a simple email that said it was not according to the community rules, and the reason was that it had this same symbol that I'm placing here on the Arado. So to every single one of you that makes these models and shows exactly what I'm showing, be careful please. And this, as you can see, it's not the 1/350 scale. This is the 1/200 from my 1/200 Bismarck that I have. And this is the 1/350. I really like this small arado. As you can see, compared with the size of the 1/200, the only thing I regret is not having a canopy. Now, aboard the Admiral Graf Spee, no detail was left to chance, not with this photo etch set, because it's very good. Not even these small boats, these auxiliary craft. They were the lifeline between ship and shore. They were vital to operations at sea. Model launches, or how do you say in German? Motorpinassen? I hope I'm not butchering German. Ferried officers, crew and cargo with precision and speed. Sturdy workboats as they were, known as Arbeitsboote, handled their heavy lifting, from logistics to daily tasks, and the humble dinghies. Jolen or Beiboot, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if you're German and if I'm wrong. Jolen or Beiboot. They stood ready for quick trips and close quarters duties. Together, they were more than just tools, just boats. They were extensions of the Admiral Graf Spee itself. And to build these and detail these with this photo etch set, well, I thought it would be more difficult, but no. And the cabin was very, very easy to put together, and at the end gives every single detail and makes all difference. And here's a close-up of the steam catapult I'm starting to build on photo etch. It's a key detail on the Admiral Graf Spee. It may not, honestly, be perfect, but building it was a real pleasure. Every tiny part, every bit of alignment, it pushed my patience, but well, I think that's part of the fun. This catapult was used to launch the Arado AR-196 into the sky, and recreating it in scale reminded me why I like this hobby so much. Sometimes it's not about perfection, it's about the joy of building. I am now detailing the cranes, removing some plastic pieces and putting some metal ones. You will see that the cranes look, I think, good, but they lack still the cables. So that will be a detail, last detail to put. So I don't want to put any thread now, any cables now, and then just break it apart. So I'm saving that to the end. Well, I'm not telling you this, but I know that you realize that. I painted previously these rails and every metal piece, but obviously when you handle it, the paint just snaps in some places. So I will have to repaint these again. But it's easier to do that than to paint it all from scratch when they are already assembled. So that's exactly what I did. You noticed that some metal pieces are scratched. Well, that's part of the process. Not all paint is resilient when you are just handling it just one day or a few hours after repainting. These railings were a challenge for me, but easier, much easier than the 1/700 scale that I built so far, but a lot of fun. And as you can see, I first tried to measure it and then use these pliers, and they are very, very, very handy. And this is just try and adapt. I need to open a little bit more the arch. I need to close it a little bit more, and then when it fits perfectly, you just use a little bit of super glue. And I really love to do this. I know I'm always telling that I really love to do this. I really had so much fun doing this, but hey, it's true. So as you can see, the build process is very linear. You just substitute and replace some plastic parts. It's much more detailed, much more gracious with a photo etch set. You paint the parts previously, correct a little bit of paint at the end. These cranes, as you can see, lack still the cables, I told you already, but it's a last detail. I want to just put it lastly in the last place. And then it comes a time when I will just dry fit. I'm always constantly saying this, but dry fit, dry fit, dry fit. Previously in other years I just build, and when I was just gluing I noticed that something wasn't perfect, and I just forced the piece to fit. Don't force the piece. As you can see here, the superstructure is tilted, but it's only dry fitted. I know that it fits because I tested it time and time and time again. So this is one of the processes you cannot forget to do regularly. Remember all those railings I was just bending? Well, I still have a lot to do, but as you can see, test it, measure it, and then glue it. It's a lot of fun to do, and you will enjoy it. And one of the things I already told you is using a brush to paint some details, going old school on this. Yeah, it was very fun. Reminds the time when I was younger and just seated on some bench and just painted without even priming the piece, you know, just being able to enjoy building a plane or a tank or armor. And this kit had a little bit of everything. You will see that in the superstructure I used internet reference images to paint the camo, and even so I went old school. I don't know if you know that, but it was the crew that painted all the camo scheme, so probably wasn't perfect, you know. And now let's paint these waves on the bow, on the hull, but first I will have to weather this hull just a little bit more. Why? Because it's fun. For that I'm using watercolor pencils. I have to be subtle, controlled, and perfect for that salt streak look. I'm going to add hints of green for sea verdigris, soft whites for dried salt, darker tones for rust and grime. It's not about overdoing it. It's trying to go just enough to tell the story of a warship that's been out at sea, messy, aged, and making it look kind of real. Painting the hull. As you know, I wanted to paint this one as the River Plate battle camo scheme. So there was this subscriber, RogerBall3884, which did some comments on my last video. Awesome, and thank you, by the way. And he says, and I quote, Alex, as far as the paint scheme, you actually have 3 choices, yes, and a weird detail that would be absolutely unique, and yes it would. 1. Two-tone, pre-war, and the way she sailed from port she was painted her base colors, as you are modeling her now, yes, as I was modeling her right now, as she is at this point. 2. Somewhere in the Indian Ocean, while she was sinking freighters and tankers, her superstructure was overpainted with Dunkelgrau 51, the hull color. Some of the famous pattern she had during the River Plate battle was painted in this color. Now for the awesome detail, and this is where you are actually reading a comment from someone who is passionate about this that I'm building, this kit that I'm building. One that might not be too hard to do, but it's probably well beyond my personal capability. Personally, I think it's not. You are well able to do it. But they put a fake gun turret and fake guns near the forward outside bridge and gun director. There are some photos. It looks awesome. They did this to fake her as a British cruiser, which generally had 2 forward gun turrets. Maybe my next build. I love this ship and her history. Well, no shit. 3. Sometime later in the Atlantic between West Africa and the River Plate, she was again overpainted. This time with seal color Dunkelgrau 2 or 2, I think. So she had Hellgrau 50 as the base coat on the superstructure, some patterning with Dunkelgrau 51 hull color, and then more patterning with Dunkelgrau 2 dark gray. At this time, she lost her fake turret and cannon. And now, it's the part where I want to take you to that explains the way I did these splinters, these camo splinters. If you decide to paint her up for the River Plate, remember that the white bow wave seemed to have been hand-painted with a roller or something. It wasn't really masked, it was really imperfect, and it was very weathered. I have some research on this build, log in my model ship world, yes, which I was able to go and check it out, and thank you very much for it. I haven't got very far. The PE set and some airbrush problems really stalled things and frustrated me. Well, welcome to my world. I have come to realization that I am an okay hack modeler, not one of the superstars. Well, that doesn't fit on me either. Your videos are reinvigorated me, and well, okay. Thank you very much for your comment, and that's why I am speaking for over these 3.5 minutes. These white waves are not perfect. I made it on purpose, and it makes sense that the crew painted it, and there's not that professional airbrush thing, you know, so that's exactly why they're here. And thank you very much for all your comments. Please do continue them. If you think that there are some things that I can still do, please comment. This is why I'm doing this, okay? And I'm still weathering the hull. You cannot avoid it. It's so much fun that you lose track of time. But I think I'm stopping right now because it's easy to go beyond that. And to just make it all matte and soft, I use this Mr. Hobby Mr. Melanin foam sheet. It gives a flat finish. It's not varnish, but some imperfections on the paint just smooths it down, and that's what I use along the entire hull. It was kind of a tedious process, but you're not sanding, you know, you're just polishing, except that there's no shine in the end, it's matte. So it's a win-win here in this build. And now the propellers. As I already told you, I like Mission Models gold color. It's airbrush ready. As you can see, I applied it. You can even apply it without any really primer, but I primed the piece, and the final result is this one. And as you can see, it's very good. This piece here was from 2015, yeah, year old model that I built. So yeah, it was good times. So I thought it would be sentimental, yes, but it is exactly as I painted it back then. So I'm putting this one here, just to remember. It was good times. So now I have to just put the propellers on, and as you can see, the weathering on the hull, I don't think it's too exaggerated, don't you? Tell me in the comments, please, if you do. And again, let's paint the turrets. They're not all still painted on the River Plate camo scheme, but even so, I'm just going along using my brush, and yes, I'm going to say it, it was a lot of fun to do this. And now, after painting these for weathering, giving a little bit of weathering, I use these oil washes. I think the company is still around us. I use these a lot on every build. These are Modeler's World's oil washes. You have several tones, and as you can see, you can apply it as a filter or a regular oil wash, and they go absolutely perfect on this. You know, I'm advertising, but you can judge yourself by the appearance of these images. This gray, for instance, it may look a little bit not belonging here, but as soon as I clean it, it gives that dirty grime and discreet texture that I need. And being able to use it directly without searching for the color, you know, as you can see, well, this fits perfectly. These are good products. I think the company is still around, and I am building a Revell Battlestar Galactica Viper. I have it almost built here also, and I did it just to escape a little bit from this model. I will return obviously to it, and I use these a lot, these oil washes a lot, and yeah, these help. It may seem a little bit exaggerated in the end, but if you look as I clean the wash, well, I think you can agree with me that these just make weathering just right. Now painting the Graf Spee, Admiral Graf Spee superstructure by hand was one of the most rewarding parts of this build. I follow the camouflage patterns used during the Battle of the River Plate, as you know, I already told you. I was guided by online references and historic photos. Every brushstroke felt like a small connection to the story behind this ship, and I really love her story. I know it's not perfect, okay? But there's, I don't know, something deeply satisfying about doing it all by hand. No masking, no airbrush, just brush, you, and your focus. I would like to say to everyone who's been following this project and supporting me here on YouTube, thank you. Your feedback and encouragement meant a lot, is meaning a lot. This build has grown beyond plastic and paint for me. It's become a shared experience. I think it's all what modeling is all about. These days, it is what it is. People will sometimes disagree, but YouTube is a platform for you to share. So, to everyone that's following this build and is following my modeling journey so far, thank you very much. So, here we are, getting closer to what the final build might look like. But once again, I have to say, what you're about to see is just dry fit, okay? There's nothing glued down yet. I'm still adjusting, checking proportions, letting the model kind of speak to me in a way, you know? And this project, Admiral Graf Spee, has been one of the most enjoyable builds I've ever done. From the tiny details to the bigger challenges, it kept me focused, relaxed, and honestly, it brought me joy. And that joy wouldn't be the same without you all of you watching, commenting, and supporting. Your kind words, suggestions, and even just simple views, they do mean a lot. Model building, as you know, can be kind of a solitary hobby sometimes, but this YouTube community turns it into something much bigger. So thank you, really. Let's keep going together. I will post another video, probably the final build, of course, and on each one, I'm learning a little bit, not stressing about perfection. In the end, it's all about doing what we love. So guys, again, keep modeling, always, always with a smile. Stay safe.